Hello everyone and welcome to Season 4 Exchange. My name is Salome Wagaini and I'm just going to kick off everything by starting off with a poll. So you should have a poll just open with you at the moment. We're just asking a few sort of options as to how you've all been feeling in terms of the current crisis and your potential work around the environment. So yeah, thought we'd kick off the event with that. We'll say it's pretty fascinating to see the sort of bars go around. It feels like I'm a pollster, so thank you for indulging that. But yeah, while you're answering that question, I figured I'll just give some housekeeping as well. So today's session will be recorded, so your mics and videos have been turned off. You're attending as participants for this webinar. Please use the question and answer function for any questions you have throughout. If you have technical difficulties, we have a wonderful tech host, Days Hale, and they're on hand to help resolve any of those problems. So use the chat function to flag any issues and select Days tech host. Otherwise, the messages will be defaulted to all attendees. As this session is being BSL interpreted, we'll change interpreters every 15 minutes or so. And at that point, that interpreter will be spotlighted, but you can change the settings manually so that you can focus on whichever sort of screen or speaker you would like to choose. And we also are captioning this event, so it's live captioned. So at the bottom of your screen, you should see next to the share screen option to the right, either more with 3 dots and the option to view the transcript or look at the captions, or if you're on full screen, you should also just have a section that says subtitles. So yeah, we would love for you to join the conversation on your preferred social media channels. The hashtag we are using is Season4Change. So yeah, Season 4 Exchange kicks off today, and it's 3 weeks. It's a precursor to our open programme that will run in the spring of 2021. And this is a 3-week programme of online workshops, conversations and artist interventions to inspire artists and arts professionals to learn, share knowledge and talk about climate action and climate justice. The project is led by Arts Admin and Julie's Bicycle, delivered in collaboration with partners nationwide and supported by Arts Council England and the Paul Hamlyn Foundation. At this point, I'll just introduce the rest of the team. So yes, as you know, my name is Salome Wagaini and I'm Programme Manager. We also have Emma.
Hello, yes, I'm Emma Dunton. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Programme Director for Season for Change.
And completing the sort of core Season for Change team is Octagon.
Hello, hi, Octagon, they, them, and I am Communications Manager for Season for Change.
And as I mentioned, this project is led in collaboration between Arts Admin and Julie's Bicycle. So later on, I'll introduce you to both Rosa, who is Artistic Director of Arts Admin, and Alison Kell of Julie's Bicycle. So yes, I'll just carry on and introduce you to Emma, who will set up Season for Change.
Hello, thank you, Salome. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. It's great that you've joined us this afternoon. This is the launch of Season for Exchange. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Season for Change itself. Season for Change is a UK-wide cultural programme inspiring urgent and inclusive action on climate change. We aim to mobilise artists and cultural organisations to put climate action at the heart of their creative practice and programming, and platform voices that are historically excluded from the climate conversation. In spring 2021, Season for Change will showcase the creativity and leadership of the UK's cultural sector on the most important issue of our time through a nationwide programme of events. So we're inviting arts organisations and artists across the country to programme work around this theme and to be part of Season for Change's open programme next year. Season for Change also includes 9 artistic commissions across England with partners including Apples and Snakes, Cambridge Junction, Contact, East Street Arts, Happy Museum, Manchester Museum, and Metal Liverpool, and others. And we have also commissioned 4 Common Ground artists who are going to speak to you a little bit later on in this launch. We know there's an amazing creative climate leadership out there, and in the run-up to the COP meeting in Glasgow in November 21, we want to create the UK's most ambitious cultural movement focused on climate action and climate justice. So my message to you is join us, take part, sign up to our mailing list and to our newsletter on our website to find out how you can join up for this, with the season for next year. Thank you. I'm now going to hand over to Rosa of Arts Admin.
I need to unmute myself. There we go. First mute disaster of the moment. I'm just going to very briefly introduce the project from Arts Admin's perspective in terms of the history of Season for Change. So Season for Change was born from a conversation between my predecessor, Judith Knight, and Alison Tickell that came from the What Next movement. And that kind of sense of collaboration and partnership is really central to the development of this programme. It is a collaboration between Julie's Bicycle and Arts Admin in the first instance, but it is gratefully supported by a number of wonderful partners, the Arts Council, Paul Hamlin Foundation, a number of our programming partners, including but not limited to East Street Arts, Cambridge Junction, Contact Manchester, Apples and Snakes, Metal, and many more. And it would be remiss of me not to pay great tribute and thanks to Judith Knight for her visionary leadership in setting up this project, to Mark Godber from our team here at Arts Admin, who's been working on this project from the get-go, and to Shola Johnson, who worked with us in the development of this project over the last year. So thank you to all of you. And I will hand over now to Alison Tickell, who is our delivery partner at Julie's Bicycle on the project.
Thank you so much, Rosa. Thank you, Salome and Emma and everybody. And all those thanks are absolutely echoed by me, Judith, Cholet, and Arts Admin, who have been such great, inspiring partners. And of course, 8 months ago, we would have been preparing for a big event in Glasgow, and of course we're not. We're just at the beginning of what we hope, as Emma says, will be a really exciting movement of change. And actually that's going to be a good thing because it gives us more opportunity, and so much has changed. The big 3 Ps, you know, the pandemic, the pause, and the polarization around issues have really characterized the last 8 months. And they've provoked really big questions and really big soul searches around climate, culture, and connectivity. So the context is so different, and I think that's it's such a pivotal moment. And the climate movement is really coming together in a way that I don't think it was before, speaking to the really grainy issues around power, particularly, and justice, and the scale of this challenge, and how culture actually does have a central role in it. And that's an incredibly exciting moment and a huge responsibility. So I think today's a really great day, not least, I don't know if anybody noticed, but Japan has just signed up to net zero by 2050, joining the European Union, the world's 3rd largest economy. There are real tides of change that I think Season for Change can really breathe life and joy and energy into during a time where we've never been more called on. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for, what a great bunch of partners. We can't go wrong with all of this incredible community of people driving passionately for the kind of world we want. So I'm very, very excited, really glad to be here with you all, and let's see what we can do.
Thank you, Alison and Rosa. I'm just going to say briefly what the Season for Exchange programme is, and then we're going to talk to some of the artists, or some of the artists are going to talk to us, the artists that we've commissioned as part of the Season for Change programme. So Season for Exchange is a precursor to the Season for Change programme, and is a 3-week free programme starting today with online workshops, conversations and artist interventions to inspire artists and arts professionals to learn, share knowledge and talk about climate action and climate justice. The programme is for those new to climate or those more well versed in sustainability, and most of the actual conversations or the events take place in the afternoon from about 4 o'clock onwards, and they include conversations with groundbreaking artists such as Sina Edwards, Amma Josephine Budge, Selena Thompson, Metis, Kathy Hind and many others. There'll also be workshops on climate justice in arts programming, ethical fundraising and producing a sustainable event, amongst other workshops. There'll be discussions on the future of fashion, museums and sustainable cities. That's just to give you a little taster of all the different events that will be taking place over the next 3 weeks. So please do come and join us. We'd love to see you there to join in with the conversations. I'm now going to hand over to our Common Ground artists. So this is 4 artists who have been commissioned by Season for Change to create a piece of work as part of the Season for Change programme. So first up, we're going to hear from Jennifer Farmer and Zoe Palmer.
Thank you, everyone. It's just really just an honor and pleasure to be in this space with you. Zoe and I have been sort of always sort of opening up our spaces and conversations with invitations and words of affirmation. And something that we wanted to share with you today is definitely from a book that I've been leaning on quite heavily in this past year called Black Imagination, which was curated by Natasha Marin, and which invited Black artists to reimagine a space in which they could feel loved and safe and protected. And so I'm just going to read a short passage, and this is the response from Sharon Strange from Decatur, Georgia, which is not far from where I am. I was born in Tennessee. And Sharon says, "A place of radiance and deep peace, as in a meadow mid-morning, the flush of the day begun and its potential still vibrating within us. Us together, people of myriad hues, bodies, languages, cultures, beliefs, faiths, ages, abilities, yet who trust and love because it is instinctive to do so, as in a child fully open-eyed, awestruck by its existence and its mother's smell, her face, her warmth. We enter that field each morning to work and play with all of the animal and plant life too. All of us, separately and together, creative and unafraid and joyous." Over to you, Zoe. Oh, Zoe, you're muted.
Thank you, Jennifer. That quote really says it all. What Jennifer and I really want to focus on through the Dreaming Field Lab, which is really an experiment which is going to involve gathering lots of people together in the British countryside, is really how we can curate a space that centres joy and allows us to imagine and rest, but that also plugs into our lineage, plugs into thinking about the women who have come before us, the women who will come after us, the women who see us now, and the men, and asking some really big questions. So what happens if we dream and rest in the British landscape? What happens if we're given space to do that? How can we find solutions to the climate situation, the climate difficulties we're facing if we're devoid of imagination? what does our shared psychic climate look like? By psychic, I mean our belief system, our relationships, our myths, and how are these connected to the atmospheric climate? We're really, really excited and curious to get to work. Basically, what we want to do is we want to invite people to return to their senses, to feel the earth, and to feel what it's like to breathe the field, breathe the forest, connect with each other, and really dream and imagine a future that we want. Because if we can't dream and imagine our future, we won't have the future we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer and Zoe. Dream and imagining, definitely, that's what we want to do. We're now going to hear from Ssega.
Hi, thanks very much, Emma. And it's a great privilege to be amongst these artists and also to be invited onto this program, Season for Change. So I'm a musician and an artist, as you've probably heard my music at the beginning, which was fantastic. And this lockdown is interesting. So I've been speaking to Julie's Bicycles through Earth Percent, another climate justice organization I'm involved in during this lockdown. And I have been having these conversations on Zoom. And I've always believed as an artist, my favorite musicians are the ones who said something, whether it was Curtis Mayfield or Marvin Gaye. So you've got to reflect your time. So given this opportunity came along, it was fantastic to be able to use my art to lift up voices. And for myself, given there's Black Lives Matter going on right now and being a young Black man from South London, I thought this was a time to try and get Black voices into the climate justice conversation. Because even coming from the music point of view, musicians, people look to us and entertainers and say, look, you've got a platform. You've kind of got an audience. So then it's like, how do we utilize that to then connect to the masses? And one of the sort of misnomers is, oh, Black people might be more interested in knife crime and stuff like that and dealing with those in the community. But I think as COVID has shown us now, air pollution, and especially to do with health outcomes, it has affected minorities, and especially Black minorities. So that's something where I want to put that in an artistic form, just to get more different Black voices, not just my own, out there, and to do it in an artistic way. So I'll be making an EP, also a comic and a pamphlet and a visual trailer. So hopefully you can reach out to different people that way, and something in Braille as well. And so it's quite adventurous, but then it's exciting. And I think it's a great time now. I think coronavirus has kind of shown us that we need to come together and think the environment and the climate crisis is here right now and it's affecting us. And I'll finish by saying congratulations to Marcus Rashford, because here in the UK, he's showing that he's changed the image of young Black men and saying, look, we want to help our community. And even in the toxic tabloid environment of the UK, we've still got something to add. And even hopefully I can show that, to show that members of the Black community in South London and wider, we do have voice and do have opinions, and we might be able to add something, because this is a global thing where we have to come together and tackle it all together. So hopefully I can do something creative that you can enjoy. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ssega. I think coming together, I think that's a really such an important phrase in these troubled times. So we're really looking forward to hearing more from you. And thank you again for letting us use your brilliant music at the beginning of our sessions over the next 3 weeks. So we're now going to hear from Rosa Cisneros.
Hello, everyone. Yes, thank you to everyone involved in making this happen, and to all of the incredible artists that I'm sharing this space with. Yes, my project is called Roma, Recycle, Reuse, Reimagine, and I'm from the Roma community. I'm an artist, actually a dancer, but I do a lot with using my dance practice and the body to think about activism and injustices that are happening for the community, but also for non-GRT Roma community members. And I've always said that there's strength in numbers, and I'm really good at something, but I'm also really bad. And so by coming together, we're stronger. And this project really works and is a co-creative, collaborative project where Roma and non-Roma will be coming together to think about climate injustices, what, you know, where the gaps in the knowledge are, and how we can talk about these issues to reflect on situations that are happening for the families in their own communities, but also how can we, you know, reimagine and use that to help find solutions. And so as a end goal, hopefully, is to create a children's book, and we will create a children's book with the families, ensuring that their voices, that they feel reflected in that book, and that book will hopefully be then shared with schools here in the South Yorkshire area, because I'm currently based in Sheffield, and also work closely in the West Midlands. So hopefully the Roma families will work together. I know that one of the artists that I plan to co-create with is here in the audience, Maria Raluca. And again, there are so many other artists that I hope to bring forward, including the Roma families. And we will have different workshops where the families will discuss some of the injustices that are happening for them in their home countries, and you know, also frame that as to why they come here, but then how can we change some of that and learn about recycling and think about these issues. And you know, the children's books will hopefully be created, the visuals and the content and the writing, so there will be an educational kind of literacy component to that as well. And the body will definitely be part of that. So how can we use our body to also reimagine the future? So yes, thank you.
Thank you, Rosa. We're really excited about your project and to hear from, and with Roma families working together, helping to create these children's books. What an interesting and unique project. So I'm now going to hand over to Jung.
Hello, thank you for having me, and it's really such a pleasure to listen to everybody's ideas. I'm doing a project called Wilding Nature. It has to do, like so much of us during the pandemic, we've had to adapt, and I've had to adapt my project. Because originally I was going to work with young prisoners in Feltham, and I wanted to get their views on wilding or rewilding, and we can't go into prisons right now. So I think this is a good test run for how we need to adapt, changing, like ever-changing circumstances and confusing guidelines. So I'm still going to work with young people who are mostly marginalized in terms of their opinions around the climate crisis. And this kind of stems from a lot of the work I've been doing with men on probation and how they feel they fit or don't fit into society. This will, I don't know what's going to happen because I don't know who I'm working with right now, but it's an experiment. It's going to probably be a game. It'll be interesting to see how I can do this from Korea. And I hope we can connect more. Sorry, it's really late for me right now. So I don't think I'm making a lot of sense. So I'm just going to stop talking.
You made plenty of sense, but thank you so much. And yeah, time zones are such a thing that we're navigating, especially at the moment. So yeah, those are the 4 commissions selected through an open call with Common Ground. We're incredibly excited to be working with them. But we also, as we've mentioned, are working with a whole host of partners nationwide who are working with artists. One of those artists is Zoe Swenson of Metis. So I'll hand over to you, Zoe.
Hello, hi, and I'm here with Anna Maria Nabier, who's also, Anna Maria, I don't know if you want to put your video on as well. We've got quite a specific, we've got quite a specific thing that we wanted to talk about today. We've been commissioned by Cambridge Junction and Season for Change to make a show called Love Letters to a Liverpool Future. And that show is a kind of improv show all about imagining what it would be like to live in a future of human and planetary flourishing. But we've got a different task today, because we created this postcard, which we call Loop the Loop, which is all about the way in which every time we start imagining the future, we get pulled back to the difficulties of the present. And we came up with the phrase high carbon culture to describe this world that we're living in, these contradictions, these complications. And I've posted I'm about to post in the chat, hang on, sorry, here, some details about how you can get involved. And we would love to hear your versions of what high carbon culture is to you. And then Anna Maria and I are now going to talk about a few that we've gathered previously or thought of ourselves. We've done lots and lots of workshops. I've got piles and piles of previous postcards, but we're looking for new inspirations all the time, especially because since the pandemic, I think some of the particularly sharp elements of high carbon culture have ratcheted up. So Anna Maria, do you want to kick us off? It'll probably become clear what I'm talking about, I hope, when we do the examples.
Okay, so high carbon culture is the idea that humans can master nature. High carbon culture is addictive. High carbon culture is breathing in plastic. High carbon culture is eating on the train.
High carbon culture is throwing away good food because it's not the right shape.
High carbon culture is not ever having enough time.
High carbon culture is children mining lithium for our smartphone batteries.
High carbon culture is fracking the north of England after messing up the Niger Delta and not taking responsibility for either.
High carbon culture is not knowing how to cook.
High carbon culture is treating yourself to clothes or shoes, getaways, alcohol, drugs, anything to make 5 days of the week feel bearable.
High carbon culture is go on, you deserve it.
High carbon culture is driving to an eco getaway holiday.
High carbon culture is sitting at home alone playing video games.
High carbon culture is the need to control.
High carbon culture is eating whilst walking to or from work out of throwaway plastic containers with little pots of salad dressing covered with plastic films that say, not currently recyclable.
High carbon culture is banning plastic straws and drinking out of plastic bottles.
High carbon culture is Twitter outrage.
High carbon culture is eating on the train, eating whilst walking, eating on the street, eating anywhere apart from your house.
High carbon culture is convenience. So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea of what we're trying to think about.
And we'd really love for as many people as possible to contribute, to share your versions on your experiences of what high carbon culture is specifically to your life and to your context.
Absolutely. And from that, we're going to make a show that will take us out into a completely different and much better future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant. unfortunately, I recognise me in some of that. So yeah, this is the end of our launch. As you've mentioned, this 3-week project and programme, so please do join us when and where you can. It ranges from workshops to talks. But in the meantime, the main thing that we would love for you to do is to connect with us. I will drop a link to our mailing list so that you can get regular updates through our newsletter ahead of the open programme that will be taking place in the spring. Yeah, it just leaves me to thank everybody, all of our panellists for attending and share work and their practice. Thank you to our BSL interpreters, Lauren Lister and Nakasai Larsen, and also for the live captioning from Jung. Yeah, this has been brilliant. We are incredibly excited to share a programme that has climate justice and thinking about the ways in which we can connect with each other in incredibly distant and mobile times. So thank you so much.